Hi, Dan.
Hey, Elizabeth, how are you?
I'm doing well.
This is the new age of getting together. It's quite amazing.
So, we had a show scheduled for this summer at the Cambria Center for the Arts, and unfortunately, nobody would be able to see it. So, we've pushed it back to March and April of 2021.
And so we've created this video to kind of share what we have been doing and kind of prepare everybody for some of the things they might see. Right from the beginning, I have always had a great love for painting landscapes outdoors on location. I learned to use pastels because they were easy to take, put on my back, some paper, a little bit of spray. I've approached the landscape with countless different strategies over the years, from the traditional techniques to the abstract. The works I will exhibit at this show are about the touch, which I also refer to as the dance. The dance could be a short, soft mass or a very elusive, swinging stroke. Some are heavy and long, some are short and light. It's these dances that reflect my feelings towards that particular piece of land. I call it the lay of the land. I'm trying to match my stroke with the lay of the land. My indoor studio works are quite the opposite of my landscapes. While the landscapes are very organic and take a short time to complete, my studio pieces are very geometric, and they can take up to 100 to 200 hours to create. I'm generally working with buildings, and within these buildings, there's all kinds of shapes and patterns and designs. And it's within those designs that I start to play with and I bring attention to. I love the line.
I started doing paper cuts a little over 10 years ago, and I found it to be a very meditative process. In my work, I focus a lot on the line, and I think I got some of that from my dad. But in this case, instead of adding the line, I'm taking away to create the line. And so it almost felt like a therapeutic, like a process of cleansing, removing what's not necessary. I love the metaphor of paper and knife working together to create something beautiful and delicate. But I've always wanted to find a way to incorporate my paper cuts in another medium, like watercolor. I began working in watercolor a little over a year ago, and I really wanted to allow myself to break all the rules that I had been taught about watercolor. And when I was able to break the rules or make my own rules, I was finding a new artistic voice. It was a cool process. What was really cool was when I combined these paper cuts with my watercolors. What I found was the sharp edges of the paper cuts and the very organic, free-flowing movement of the watercolor was a pretty good metaphor for the ocean. I was sitting at the beach watching these beautiful pelicans just soaring through the sky, and then in a moment's notice, violently crashing into the sea. And I thought, what an amazing marriage of like grace and violence. You know, this artwork really kind of celebrates the texture and the complexity of the ocean, and also the peace and the calm that we gain from it as well. It's been interesting for me being an artist and seeing myself evolve in the same kind of ways that you've worked. I know that, line has always been really important to you. And in my paper cuts, line is really important to me. And it's been neat to see what you're doing and see how I've kind of interpreted it in my own way.
For me, The line always came first because I had to spend some time learning how to make art, and you always tend to start with a pencil and has a point which creates a line. The first places I went to draw, I always loved the outdoors, so I'd go outdoors and draw trees and rivers and mountains and lakes with the line, but then I'd feel the wind and the excitement, and the lines became a little more interactive. Yet when I'm working indoors on these large paintings, the line takes on a whole different game, and I want the line to be clean, and I'm working with paint, so I'm taping these lines in and then painting and cutting and taping, and the lines now take on a whole nother type of direction as a way to bring out art within art, using it to define shapes and patterns that most people don't normally look at when they look at a building. How do you feel about the pieces that you've been doing for this show?
It has been a really challenging time to be motivated. Having this show has definitely helped because I've had that forcing me to look and to think about my artwork and where I want to go with it.
To be able to have an art show with one of your children, that's pretty cool. And like fathers and mothers, they coach their kids. And here I am just entered my 70s, and here you are. We are still able to have something that we can challenge ourselves together.
Yeah.
And to me, that's pretty cool, pretty exciting. I feel very lucky.
I do too. Yeah.
And I hope we can get everybody to come and immerse themselves into what we've been doing.
Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the spring.